Malik Sealy Tribute.
What's going on, y'all? I'm back. This is Ari Ozdemir, episode 10 of Gold School Retro NBA. And I'm here to talk about none other than New York basketball legend Malik Sealy, Bronx native from where I'm from. This episode means a lot to me. If you guys don't know who Malik Sealy is, this is what I'm here for. He was loved beyond the game of basketball, beyond New York, because everybody in New York loved Malik Sealy. I could relate to him because as a kid, I used to watch a lot of Malik Sealy. I seen him in person. I seen him at the Gauchos. I seen him everywhere that was a Bronx basketball spot. Malik Sealy was usually there, and it meant a lot to me when he actually made the NBA as a kid, and he was drafted by the Indiana Pacers at the 14th pick in round one. Started off his career at Tollinsville High School, Catholic school, where he won a state title, and they went 30-1. And they were renowned for their basketball program because their basketball program was one of the top, especially in New York. And they were just basically unstoppable, awesome. They nobody could be. They lost one time during the whole season, which is like phenomenal because if you know back in the days, New York basketball was real rough to do something like that. It was really hard because the competition was elite. And then he was drafted going into St. John's. He was a phenomenal baller for St. John's. Actually, second in school in total points and the school record, which is a nominal feat. Because if you guys know, St. John's is a renowned program basketball. They had a lot of legends, New York legends and beyond, had touched that basketball court and wore that Red Storm jersey. And for him to be second all time in scoring, it says a lot about his basketball skills and the hard work he put in the gym. He goes on to the NBA, gets drafted 14th, first round by the Indiana Pacers. Had a role playing career, averaged 10 points per game, 3 rebounds and 1 steal. Had stints with the Pistons and Minnesota, most notably. Minnesota was where a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, know him from because that's where I feel like he had one of his best years in Minnesota until his passing. And he was also a former teammate of a guy who I enjoy a lot, Kevin Garnett. You know KG, rookie year, KG was a monster. And you know how his career turned out. Ended up to being one of the top 50 NBA players of all time and actually won a title. And a lot of Boston Celtics good teams and runs. And KG, he meant a lot to KG. KG was, he basically like took KG under his wing. And KG still to this day talks about him, gets emotional, and rightfully so, man. To have a good friend like Malik Sealy, a mentor like that, is something phenomenal. And he goes on to play in an NBA game. And I vividly remember this one time, well, actually 3 times, that he hit a few game winners. There was one game in particular I remember as a kid, as a preteen, I was watching, and it was the ball had went up above the rim, and Malik Sealy went up behind and grabbed it and hit like some he caught it and then hit like a reverse, a reverse putback layup and went crazy. And all his teammates jumped all over him. And I know it was a big moment for Malik Sealy. I mean, this dude in New York, everybody talked about him, especially when I was in school. From the OGs and the basketball courts I used to play with, they all talked about Malik Sealy, man, how great of a person he was, how humble. A lot of people don't realize how humble Malik Sealy was. Malik Sealy gave back to the community. He established a lot of things in New York. Basically, gave back to where he grew up from, and I know that, and I visually seen that. And he just went into a lot of different avenues, business aspects. Had his own clothing line. And people don't know that Malik actually had his own custom made ties. He would make ties for people, and then he actually did a clothing line called Malik 2XL, and it basically like shows just what type of person he was. A lot of people that have come across him, I said he was humble. I fortunately have seen him, but never got to actually speak to him. But from what people that I know that spoken to Malik, he was a humble guy. He was very caring, very generous. He basically was a people's person, and that's one thing people talk about. People talk about his heart, and not only that, he was just a really great basketball player, but he was a great person out off the court as well. He did a lot of things around New York. I mean, even to this day, man, he got his own. Him and his wife, they composed together an AAU team that still goes on in his name, which is pretty dope, man, carrying on his legacy. And then his son actually followed in dad's footsteps and actually does custom made ties, business ties, which is pretty cool, man. Just goes to tell you how much of a great man he was, not only just a basketball player, just a phenomenal person. And I just glad I'm fortunate enough to see the man play. And I just wonder sometimes, like, what would Malik's career be if he was, if he actually didn't die so tragically in that car accident in 2000, which took his life too soon. Because I feel like he was up there in ascending. I feel like, he carved in a nice role in the NBA, and basically made a lot of people from New York proud of him. Just had throughout the league, a lot of people, even Chris Mullin, watching him in the interview talk about Malik Sealy, how sad he was when he passed. This dude touched so many hearts, man, and it's so amazing that what Malik Sealy did for the game on and off the court, man. Now his jerseys are actually retired at number 2 with Minnesota. St. John's actually hung his jersey up. They retired the jersey name in his honor. And those are two pretty good, dope feats. And I just wish that, he was alive to reap the success. Unfortunately, God had his calling for whatever reason. But this one's for you, Malik. I really appreciate what you did for the game. I pretty appreciate what you did for New York. The Mecca of basketball really loves you. I really think, honestly, we should get like a court named after you, put in some type of position or something, because I think people forget about you, that you're gone, and I'm here to, basically keep your name alive. And I just I loved your game. I loved everything you brought on and off the court. And shout outs to KG. If you guys didn't watch the interview with him, KG was the way he talks about him. And there's no better player to tell you than a young player like him that just came into the league, telling you how great of a person that Malik was. And hearing his interview actually kind of made me emotional a little bit, because my love for the game of basketball is just as great as these guys. Unfortunately, I never made it, but just hearing these guys' stories and talk about players like Malik Sealy, it makes me learn more about the game than I already do, and I love it, man. So this one goes out for you, Malik, man. Rest in peace, and may God give you the grace with your family and continue looking down on them, because they're proud of you. They're proud of you, and you're proud of them. And I know you're proud of your son with the ties, because he basically got that from you, man. That's something that you can carry on the rest of his life and think about his dad and how great he was. And shout outs to your beloved wife, and my condolences to your family. And the legacy is for you, man. Big up, Malik.